I'm Brent Waller. I'm the sole environment artist on Windbound, which means I create all the backgrounds, all environments, trees, landscapes that you'll see in the game.
One of the things we wanted to do right from the very beginning was kind of take a step away from Satellite Rain, which was that dark, gritty, neon kind of world. And we wanted to do something that was really bright and colorful. You start off and most of the islands you come across are purely natural islands. There's the wildlife running around, having the place to themselves. But as you go through, you do start to uncover elements that are man-made, and you start uncovering a bit of the story about who was there before and what happened to them, and uncovering the mystery behind the storms that surround these islands and the events that led to all of this coming about.
Part of the story is you've got this big storm, which is in itself is kind of a mysterious force that's holding you in this place, and it's kind of trapping you here as like a Bermuda Triangle type place of this untouched land, untouched by time, but has remnants of people who've been there before.
The nature of the game being procedural wasn't the plan from the beginning. That sort of came from developing internal tools for us to be able to create a big world. Once
we got more stuck into it, we realized that we could actually make the entire game like this and make our entire giant island procedurally generated. And then when we eventually moved on to having multiple islands, it made sense that each of those islands would then be their own procedural generation.
Well, with a procedural system, it can get very difficult to avoid sameness. We're handcrafting all of the trees, all of the rocks, all of the grass, all the things you'll see in the world, but it's how they're populated and placed across the landscape, and the landscape itself is all randomly generated. So you need those big, iconic and contrasting visuals to kind of break up that monotony a little bit. We've got these big pink forest biomes that are they're somewhat rare. You might see them in one every 3 or 4 forest biomes, but they're very visually striking and you won't forget it. We have to use visuals to funnel the player where we want them to go. So early on we had ruins and things that were around the land that were very similar in tone to the rocks that were around, and players were kind of just getting lost and ignoring them. So we have a whole sort of complex system of rules and numbers and percentages and probabilities that dictate how the terrain looks, whether it's colored a certain way, what type of trees it spawns, what type of rocks it spawns, how dense those things are, and all of these things work together to kind of create a unique experience each time you play.
We wanted to straddle that idea that it is a kind of believable and relatable world.
If you need to find some wood, for example, you'll go to a forest, or if you need some bamboo, they'll be in a bamboo forest.
Relatively later in the development, Brent started creating these little bespoke little islands that'll appear around the world. They're a little bit more unique. They've got little bits of treasure or resources that can help you, and I really love just seeking out those things and going there and running the boat up into the sand, running up, getting some nice little bonus, hopping back on the boat and sailing away.